Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. Concerning Iran now, Fareed Zakaria, the darling of the Council on Foreign Relations, one of the resident blatherers of the foreign policy establishment, noting with alarm that Ahmadinejad is in the process of dumping the mullahs, the clerics, so the grand ayatollahs and the various hangers-on of Rafsanjani and Montazeri and the rest of these characters, attempting to turn against Ahmadinejad. So Fareed Zakaria noting with alarm, the clerics' actions highlight a shift in power in Iran away from the religious establishment and towards the military, away from the mullahs and towards the military. Ahmadinejad represents this change. He is a layman. He's not an ayatollah or a Hajjatullah Islam or a mullah of any kind. He's a layman. He's secular. He's a veteran of the Iran-Iraq War, a man with close ties to the Revolutionary Guard. So this is the Pastaran. This is the secret police. This is a sort of a Putin-like pattern. This is now the Revolutionary Guard, the parallel military created years back because people didn't trust the Shah's officer corps. While in office, writes Fareed Zakaria, Ahmadinejad has directed state funds away from the religious foundations dominated by clerics and towards the military and the guards. The tilt from the mullahs to the military has been somewhat obscured by the role that Ayatollah Khamenei plays as part of both camps. But in this case, this is more or less a house Ayatollah of the Revolutionary Guards. And there has actually been this conflict, as we've noted, on the vice presidency between Khamenei and Ahmadinejad. Ahmadinejad apparently backing down on that vice presidential candidacy. During the transition, of course, Ahmadinejad had to essentially conceal his intentions to avoid alienating various groups that might have tried to block the inauguration. But once Ahmadinejad is inaugurated this week, the first week in August of 2009, he will have an increasingly free hand. So, as Zakaria notes, the hyperbole in America and Israel about apocalyptic mullahs and so forth misses the point that the Islamic Republic of Iran is losing its distinct religious basis of power and becoming just another Middle East dictatorship. And that's Ahmadinejad. So you can see, they don't like it. They want to keep Islamic fundamentalism in power in Iran. Remember, Brzezinski is the father of this. Brzezinski and Gates, his office boy then, the head of the Pentagon now, and a conduit for Brzezinskiite influence into the Obama regime, where it is preponderant in foreign policy. The idea was, as Brzezinski argued, Islamic fundamentalism is our greatest bulwark against Soviet communism. The anti-Soviet theme runs like a red thread through everything that Brzezinski writes about this and does. So the idea that you could have the collapse of Islamic fundamentalism in the first theocracy in the Middle East would be a grave defeat for the Anglo-American imperialists. What they're trying to do with Musavi and Rafsanjani and Montazeri and the Qawm Grand Ayatollahs is to somehow have a pro-Western puppet regime of corrupt mullahs that would be useful for their project. And we know what that is. The chanting 2 weeks ago at Friday prayers, death to China, death to Russia. The Rafsanjani Musavi faction chanting, death to China, death to Russia. That's the program. Cut off the oil to China. Pick a quarrel with Russia across the Caspian Sea. In terms of the much ventilated and indeed hyperventilated Israeli attack on Iran, I don't see it. It's not coming, in my opinion. It would be essentially an upsetting of the power relations of the entire post-war period. Israel is an Anglo-American puppet state, not the other way around. Make no mistake. We've got a whole parade of U.S. officials. I think we've had Dennis Ross in the past week going through Israel, and again the word is no, 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 no. According to some reports, The Israelis have asked for the components of an attack on Iran, but the Israelis have hesitated to ask Obama for an attack on Iran because they know what the answer would be from Panetta, from Biden, from General Jones, from Ross, from all of them, from Senator Mitchell. No, 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 no. This is reality. And other views, I think, are intrinsically bankrupt. So it will be a big surprise if anything comes out of this. We're going to have the Afghanistan elections now on the 20th, I believe, of August. There's still a chance to make Karzai into DM of October, November 1963, some kind of a coup. We're also told that McChrystal, we're told in the Washington Post, McChrystal's strategy is to fight corruption of the Afghan government. That sounds very much like Operation Phoenix, civic development, right? Blowtorch Bob Comer and Robert Granger Kerr Thompson in Vietnam. So you're attacking the enemy guerrilla forces, but you're also attacking the host nation bureaucracy. It's a recipe for catastrophic defeat. McChrystal is a utopian. He is probably the founder of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. You'll remember the famous founding of this group when U.S. propaganda had to have something. They needed, as a vital necessity, something in Iraq that they could call Al-Qaeda. It was created with the help of Zarqawi, the dubious psychotic who was working as a patsy with the Ansar al-Islam and then changed his coat to become a devotee of bin Laden. All a dog and pony show, all a farce. And again, bin Laden, if alive, is a part of a troupe of actors, a theater company calling itself Osama bin Laden, a summer theater, a summer farce calling itself Osama bin Laden. We're also now interesting contradictions in the Obama regime concerning Sudan. We know that the goal here is to try to attack and destabilize Sudan as a means of cutting off the considerable supplies of oil being derived by China out of Sudan. So we have the special envoy of the Obama regime in this part of the world now. I guess he doesn't, I don't know if he qualifies as a czar. We're up to 32 czars in the Obama regime, but the guy who is responsible for Sudan is a retired Air Force Major General by the name of Gratian, G-R-A-T-I-O-N, and Gratian says that there is no basis for keeping Sudan on the U.S. terrorist state list. That's a direct attack on Susan Rice, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and an aggressor on Sudan. Back in a minute.